It's like we know it's happening, but we're
We
still
were
so surprised. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Medicare Cafe pre-chat. We're going on live to the actual real deal Medicare Cafe. This is just the fake part where we...
You had a hair.
That was...
You kept moving your hand.
It was
and I wanted to
distracting.
just get back here.
So this is the pre-chat where it's truly just chaos, but we are here to answer any and all questions. My phone number is not listed there, but that is because we just got a new studio computer. I would love to tell you what my phone number is.
7.
No, we did. Ooh, but we did.
Let me guess.
We did. Gonna look at it wrong so many times.
111 7.
So we did just get a new studio computer, which is very exciting for those of you last week that were like trying to watch us. And it was, well, no, that would have been a couple weeks ago that was trying to watch us because last week we couldn't go because I was at carrier rollouts, which is relevant to today's topic. But we did get a new studio computer, so the audio is audioing, the video is videoing, the phone number's not phone numbering, but that's okay. So if you want to text me, phone number is 573-818-2688. I was texting Michelle earlier today, so she knows that number. But again, 573-818-2688. That is my cell phone number. Feel free to text me at any time, even if it's not during the live cafe. I make sure that I do get those answered. Or, of course, as always, you can utilize the live chat feature as well if you do have a YouTube account. But before we get into today's topic, which is going to be, I know my hands are kind of... As I get older, my eyebrows and my hands have turned more Disney villain.
Oh, yeah. Well, you did the creepy door thing. She went with the, like...
My fingers have and it's just my age. I'm aging like a non-orphan child in a Disney movie, which means I'm an evil step-parent.
Oh, well, yes.
Because like the only time that Disney kids have good parents is if they die, and I'm still alive. So in Disney rules, I'm kind of a terrible, scary, gonna age like a Disney villain mom.
Yep.
You guys, I'm very excited because today I'm joined like my bestest friend in the hold, Mr. Clayton Clemons.
Hi, y'all.
And Clayton, as you guys know, is a normal cafe host. Has been with us, but we haven't seen you for several months, and you've been really, really busy, just genuinely with life. So some really awesome news. Again, I know we'll get started here in the next couple minutes with the actual cafe episode. Some awesome news is that Clayton, you're expecting your brand new baby boy son.
Yeah.
Literally in a couple weeks.
Yep. We just got news. Baby brother will be here September 2nd.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And your daughter she's 3.5?
She just turned 4 in August.
4.
Yep.
Insane. That's like the perfect age to have them. Me and my sister 4 years apart. My husband and his brother are. Like, that's kind of like a good...
That 3 to 4 year gap is it. Yeah. Aubrey is at the age where she's extremely excited to be a big sister, and she won't even let us refer to her as our baby anymore, which is super sad. No, she's big sister now. And she's like sending it. Like, she's like, nope, I'm a big sister. I'm a big sister, so...
In the new house, too, so they'll have, like, separate bedrooms, so baby's not going to keep the other baby awake.
Yeah, so we did all of the things. We got pregnant back in December, which was a couple months prior to me finding out, or a couple months after that I found out I was going through cancer diagnosis number 2, which I do have my PET scan scheduled.
This motherfucker. We could be friends again. Well, so finish up this, and then I do want to give people a life update on where you're at with your health.
Yes,
right
now. I'll go fun life. We'll go start there first.
Start with the fun life.
Okay, fun life. I got a dog in December. We got pregnant in December. I broke my ankle in January. But then we started going through the house process because I was on the second story with a broken ankle, and we said, we got to get out of here. So got a house. We moved to Ashland, which is really close to Columbia. So baby brother has got his room getting all set up now. Aubrey's got her room, which is like almost the exact match to what it was at our apartment.
Oh, good.
Because we set that thing up first thing. So Aubrey was like, this is home.
Yeah.
Except her home is now way better, and she has a purple convertible that she gets to drive around in the neighborhood.
That would make any home better.
It's so awesome. And we go on walks in the neighborhood and ride our bikes. It's the best thing. She's the happiest little girl.
That's awesome.
And she's about to be the best big sister in the world. Because I said, I always talk about my sister, Savannah, as like the angel human.
Your sister is
Like,
the angel human.
she's just amazing. She's perfect. And I'm like, that's going to be Aubrey to baby brother. And baby brother is so lucky that he's got Aubrey.
What good little feels we have going
Yeah.
for this Tuesday
I
morning.
love my little family.
I love that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, dun dun dun. So for those of you I know we've talked about on the show periodically, kind of explaining what's been going on with Clayton's absence. So Clayton, as everybody knows, because again you're a part of the CARE initiative, the Cancer Insurance Awareness and Resources,
where my hands go.
Resources and Education. Don't make it weird.
Yeah.
You're already making it weird. This is something. Yeah, keep rocking it, Clayton. Absolutely, Michelle. But that is Clayton is very passionate about that. We're all very passionate about cancer insurance because Clayton is a cancer survivor, went through cancer. When was your first diagnosis?
I was first diagnosed when I was 27.
27. Okay.
And then again here when I turned, I'm 34 now.
Yeah.
So just before I turned 35.
Right before. So again, so Clayton did the end of last year get some world-shattering, earth-rocking news that your cancer had returned.
Yep.
And so we've been, as Clayton is working on building his but continuing on his family and working through life and doing what he does for agents and building businesses, he's also been continuing to focus, and we've been giving him that space to work and focus on his health and to focus on getting better.
Yeah.
So updates there that you're prepared to share.
So it was very similar to my first round of treatments.
Mm-hmm.
I did 8 weeks of radiation, 6 weeks of radiation,
Mm-hmm.
which was every single day go to radiation.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, I broke my ankle, slipped on some ice back in January,
Mm-hmm.
and dislocated it about 90 degrees out to the outside. Broke some bones, tore some ligaments.
Love that.
My joke is always said, 7 screws and a plate later, it's put back together again, so it's okay. So I went to radiation on crutches and wheelchairs and however I could get my butt to radiation every day, which included sliding up and down my stairs on my butt because I couldn't trust myself to crutch down the stairs because my back was weak.
Yeah.
My balance was all off because all the medication and stuff. I'm like, no, we're just going to slide down. So that was a fun few months. And then I started my chemo with my chemo pills that I took. And that was fine. It was like mostly just tired, pretty sick here and there. But I was just so blessed that y'all here at Senior Marketing Specialist let me work from home so much.
Sure.
I basically hadn't seen this place for the this last month is the most I've been back all year. And so I was just working from home, trying to stay connected with everybody as much as possible. I'd stick my head in every once in a while when my numbers were good. Yeah. Because my white blood cells was the only main issue that I had during my treatment is they kept tanking.
Especially during flu season and everybody's sick here because we're all disgusting creatures.
Yes.
Quite frankly. So that is every time you want to visit is a consideration of I don't have an immune system.
Yeah, I will get sick if anybody's got anything.
Sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was multiple times I came in here and you said, stay back.
Yes. Because I was one of the disgusting people. You stay
back.
away.
I miss you. I'll talk to you later, though.
Yes, literally, yeah.
So, yeah, I went through all that treatment. I've got a PET scan scheduled for next week, Thursday.
Okay.
It is officially scheduled.
Oh, gosh.
Olivia was very mad at me because I was avoiding it.
Mm-hmm. We weren't speaking because he wouldn't get it scheduled.
Yeah, I was terrified. I kind of had to get over that, and especially because when we got the baby brother's going to be here in 2 weeks, not 5.
Right.
Because we thought we had until September 20th. So I was like, okay, I'll get it scheduled before then. And then last week the doctor said, nope, we're going to go take baby brother just to make sure mom and baby are safe on September 2nd. So I said, cool, I got to hurry up.
Yeah. Well, that is the motivation, honestly, what people need. Yeah. It's we've always talked about this, that cancer is a communal diagnosis. That probably means something different than what I think it means.
I get the vibe that you're going with.
It's something that whenever an individual gets diagnosed, people surround and support and do whatever they can to help that individual. So it becomes something that involves so many people than just the one that's actually going through the treatments and going through that diagnosis. So it is one that, again, oftentimes for some people who tend to not put themselves first, it's easy to use other people as motivation to take care of yourself, and I think that's what the case is here.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a selfish move that I just didn't want to know. Like, do I have to do more treatment, and am I done? And pushes from some friends and
I was an aggressive push.
You were.
I was flat rude.
I needed it.
I was
and
rude.
I appreciate you. She just straight up refused to talk to me. She's like, nope, we'll talk through Sadie. Like, we're not going to talk. But yeah, and then thinking like, okay, I got to make sure everything's good for baby brother. Because on top of all of that, I had ankle surgery number 2 on Friday of last week to take 2 screws out of my ankle. So that was fine, though. It was pretty minor. I walked out, which was like the weirdest thing. Like, I thought, there's no way you're going to take screws out of my ankle. And
I'm still going to be able to just bloop, bloop,
like,
bloop, bloop.
Okay, doctor.
Okay.
Sure.
Mr.
But
Medical Man.
it's good. Like, it's just a little stiff. I'm feeling a lot better these days. Like,
awesome.
As honest as I can be, like, I'm just so excited to be back in this building, back talking with agents that are, like, on here. It's made my transition back so much easier, being like all the support. I see messages here. I've gotten a lot of messages throughout the months from the agents I work with, and it's so nice to know that, like, not only do we have like the business partnership connection, there's a lot of people out there that genuinely care.
I got lots of friends. That's what I love this industry. It's like, man, it's one good and bad. It's the industry is way too small to burn a bridge. Never burn a bridge here. It will bite you. But just that, like, again, like, at the end of the day, we're all in it together. Yeah. It's a small industry with such a huge impact, and you get to work with your best friends.
It's really nice. Yeah.
Me, I'm your best friend.
Olivia is one of my best friends.
Yay.
I say one of because, I don't want to make her too high up on the list.
I understand.
Just stare at her.
I need that check every now and then. Guys, Clayton, again, thank you for sharing where you've been. I know we've had a lot of people asking about you and asking, like, how you're doing and where you're at right now. So we'll continue to keep Clayton in the loop. We'll continue to keep Clayton in front of you all because I know, again, fan favorite for sure. And we'll be continuing to have a lot more conversations about where Clayton's going next, his path, and also, how you're helping agents.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
So today, we've not addressed it. No one's asked about it. And it concerns me that this is normal for everybody for me to just have an electronic cat on my lap.
Yeah, we're not talking about the cat, I thought.
No one's asked about it, which, like, it honestly is more like, what does that say about me? That people just like, fine. This just completely makes sense to have a robot cat on my lap wearing a necktie.
Olivia asked me how much I wanted to talk about everything that's been going on. I said, yeah, no, I'm super open to it, but we're not talking about the cat.
Don't talk about the cat. I have to talk about the cat.
Okay, fine. That's up to you. I'm going to step out.
So why does the cat matter today, y'all? Oh, nope.
Because Aetna. And United Healthcare. And Cafe.
Today, you guys, I've only been using this for... It has to wake up, okay? Thank you, Mr. Producer, Mr. Alex. So today, guys, what are we doing? We are talking about the carrier vibes, doing a vibe check going into this AEP. Why is the cat here? That's a great question. One, I just needed the emotional support animal. Fine. These cats, these machines, not the bow tie not included, were things that were offered by Medicare Advantage plans back in 2020, 2021, back when Medicare Advantage plans were incredibly, I didn't know, this is a new development, back where Medicare Advantage plans were incredibly, highly, highly funded, and you saw these crazy different types of benefits and things that people could get. Some years it was golf clubs and kayaks. Some years it was an emotional support robot cat. So we're looking at what is the era of 2026 AEP Medicare Advantage plans. We've gone to all but I think the last rollout. We have people at Essence today. We have friends over attending the Elevance rollout. So I don't have information on Elevance. I am getting information on Essence as it comes out. But we've been to almost all of these rollouts. They're kind of coming to a close. We are out on the other side of the rebid process where CMS basically gives final approval on these plans. So carriers are really starting to come out with what their go-to market strategies are. Yeah. And so we're not going to go through. We've already done some webinars. We done a webinar on on Aetna. We've done the webinar on UHC. We're going to be releasing some content on Cigna, Humana, Essence, these other carriers. And that will go into like more of a deep dive on what was said at these rollouts. Today, I just want to keep it really light and just give you an overview of like, and we're only going to be going over the big carriers. I
Right.
do have a slide on here that mentions kind of regionals altogether, but I just want to give you kind of what we're seeing, who's going to be the winner this year, who's maybe going to be less of a winner this year, and go through what each carrier's more strategy. We're not going to go through like their markets and their plans and their MOOPs. We're not going to do that. Just kind of go through what that carrier strategy is in 2026. And spoiler, none of them involve robot cats.
The vibes are definitely past the robotic cats.
Yeah.
We're looking. We talked about like vibes. That word is just kind of thrown out there, and it gets icky sometimes. But like the feeling of what these carriers are wanting to do.
Fine.
So like a lot of these carriers have told us what their feelings are, and that's like the main thing that we can look at until we know it's concrete data on October 1st.
Yeah.
But like it gives us a really telling sign of what's to come.
Yeah.
So
I feel pretty confident. This time last year, it was still kind of like, we don't know what these carriers, like this time last year, it was the first year where they were having to kind of keep everything close to the chest. They weren't doing really first looks for a lot of those carriers. This year, they've been much more transparent and giving us those first looks and giving us more information. Now, at these rollouts, especially at the Humana and the UHC rollout, we really didn't get into carrier benefits. However, first looks are out. If you don't have your first looks, call us. We're more than happy to give those to you so you can actually see what those benefits will potentially look like. There still might be some minor changes here and there come October 1st, but you'll be able to get a general idea of what we're looking at here.
Right.
So let's get started. First of all, did I start with UHC? I sure did. What a bold choice of me to start with UHC right off the bat. So before we get into UHC, I do want to keep in mind there's some scary statistics, scary news. Oh, you know what we haven't talked about? We'll talk about it at the end. The ABC, Americans for Beneficiaries Choice, won the lawsuit. Sorry, like what a freaking like. Oh, here's my topic for the day. Just kidding. I kind of do because I'm already on the vibe train, and I don't want to interrupt the vibe train the way I just did. But if you're not going to stick around to the end, the ABC won the lawsuit, and we don't have to worry about marketing dollars, and we don't have to worry about agencies getting taken out of the Medicare equation. 1-to-1 consent rule still applies, though. We'll get into it.
Okay.
Something to keep in mind about the Medicare Advantage.
We'll just loop back to that.
We'll loop back to that. Something about
Stick around.
I was going to talk about in the pre-chat, but then I wanted everybody to
I had to talk about my feelings.
I wanted everybody to know what you were doing. Don't make me the bad guy.
Olivia wanted to talk about my feelings and not this important information, but it's okay. Here we go. Anyway, back to UHC.
Why not both? Okay, don't make me the asshole here.
No, hey.
Okay, so
I love Olivia so much, guys. I don't think you know, like, behind the scenes, how much I just appreciate her as a human.
I honestly don't know why
This
my
is so
title
fun.
it's chaos coordinator.
Yeah.
Because I cause the chaos that I coordinate.
He coordinated.
More times than not.
Yeah, it's planned.
As I say with my cat on my lap.
Just keep that cat there.
Anyway, back to the news.
So just keep in mind, there's a lot of conversation about what's going to happen to the Medicare Advantage market, what's going to happen to the MedSet market. And these carriers, as they're making their decisions for the 2026 plan year, are still looking all the way to 2030 about how they're going to maintain. Because that's kind of the plan right now.
Right.
The carriers that can survive the next few years are the carriers that are going to win big in 2030. Why is 2030 a landmark year? Well, one, it's just a cool year to say.
Cool year.
Very futuristic.
Yeah.
Follow up from that. Oh, we'll be 40 then. You'll be 40. I'll only be 39. So, in addition to that, what Def Research has come out with this, as well as other actuaries are trying to guess how much of the market will be Medicare Advantage ran by 2030. They're saying, a lot of professionals are saying right now, like it's about a 54 to 56% right now are on Medicare Advantage plans. They're anticipating by 2030 over 60% will be on Medicare Advantage plans. Some are even guessing up to 67%. So a 10% jump in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
In the next 4 to 5 years is what they're anticipating, which is really exciting. What's really cool about that is how those people are joining these Medicare Advantage plans. They're not expecting to see a continuation of a mass exodus from Medicare supplements. It's just people aging on to Medicare are more likely to choose an Advantage
Just
plan.
to start there.
Yeah, to start there versus going to the Med Sup. So understanding that the Medicare market, and it's important to say this going into UHC, it's important to know that the Medicare Advantage market isn't going anywhere. In fact, it's anticipated to grow. It's just basically in a lot of ways we're seeing Medicare Advantage plans get back to where they were pre-2021, pre-2020, whenever they didn't see these
When there were
robot
more
cats.
health plans
When there were
versus
actual
all these
insurance.
yeah.
When it was actual insurance, yes. Okay, so now United Healthcare. What you doing, boo boo?
Boom.
It's okay.
Hit the button.
It
Hit
did.
it
It did.
again.
It just said absolutely not, girlfriend. So we went to United Healthcare. It was a really cool rollout. We went there. It was just an overnight, literally
Yeah.
fly in one day, fly out the next. And it was held in Minneapolis. I can't say that, Minnesota. The biggest thing with United Healthcare, guys, understanding right now, they are anticipating at least a 600,000 member disruption when it comes to service area reductions. United Healthcare, and primarily going to be PPOs.
Right.
United Healthcare is getting rid of and shedding membership on those PPO plans. They did say that is actually less than 8% of membership for United Healthcare.
That's crazy.
Like literally 600,000 members is 8% of membership. Less than 8% membership out there. So they're the giant. They're the behemoth. United Healthcare's worst year is still going to be better than a lot of carriers' best years. So like let's
This is
just
true.
keep that in mind.
Let's start there.
Let's start there, but under the understanding that they are anticipating having a step back a year, and their biggest thing is like that their rollout theme was forward together. So they're basically saying 2026 is going to happen. It has to happen, but this is our go to market for 27, 28, all the way to 2030.
Yeah, I remember you telling me they talked a little bit more about their plans for 2028
Yes.
versus their plans for 26. It's
Yeah.
almost like they're looking at this year as that reset or as that get right year
Yeah.
of like, let's just fix this.
We just got to rip the Band-Aid off this
Yeah.
year. And other carriers, as we're talking about just like industry vibe, other carriers, we'll talk about them, Aetna, Humana, said that they took their major steps back last year, and
Right.
United Healthcare did not take the step. We know in 2025, UHC was the winner, bar none.
Oh, yeah.
I think that UHC probably took maybe 2 steps back compared to Humana and Aetna's 1 step back. So we may see some continuation of them adjusting in years to come. UHC is saying that we took such a step back this year to correct and adjust so that we can maintain stability. Their number one goal is, though, to sustain their current memberships and grow where it makes sense.
Right.
So again, those 90% of individuals who are losing their coverage, 90% of them will have an alternative Medicare Advantage, UHC Medicare Advantage plan available to them.
UHC is really good. I mean, you don't get that big by not being smart.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to shed the plans that have been costing them the money. They're going to get rid of the plans that they want to. It's not like, okay, let's drop all of our market leaders because we need to shed plans. Like, no, there's plans that have a bunch of people on it that are not very profitable plans. Those are the ones they're going to be looking at. So, like, when we looked at, like, Kansas City, for example, they had the KC4 plan, Kansas City here in Missouri. And, like, it lost some benefits. It didn't go away. That was their market leader. So what they're doing with, like, their market leading plans is backing them up a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's still good options to stay on it depending on, like, what you care about as far as your health insurance goes. And there could be a bunch of people that stay on that plan. But then there's other ones that they're just straight up getting rid of and doing the service area reduction on that says, nope, this plan's got to go. I don't care how many people are on it. It's got to go.
It is what it is. And they're being very forthcoming about it. Someone asked a great question. Is there a way to find out what states will be eliminating those United Healthcare plans? They haven't released a list of those SARs yet. However, they are using other ways to not incentivize enrollments. And you can imagine that those plans that they're not incentivizing enrollments on anymore are plans that are likely going to either see significant changes or elimination in 2026. Don't have that in writing, but again, tea leaves.
Yeah, kind of like just reading the writing on the wall a little bit of saying, yep, that's perfect. Hold on. Nope, wrong way. Perfect. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
God, I love you. Anyway, so like we're looking at like those non-commissionable plans that they released in the middle of the year here. Watch those plans. If you got a bunch of people on those, kind of make note of who's on those, because we won't know until it's official. But that's kind of where anticipation is. It's like, all right, if it's a non-commissionable plan in the middle of the year, chances are that might be on the SAR list.
The biggest thing to keep in mind where UHC is making those cuts, if their plan is still going to be available, but they're trying to adjust for future markets. One, they are doing basically anything preventative on their dental plans if that plan is going to offer dental. 50% coinsurance on anything that's not preventative, including fillings, extractions, all of that. So that's going to be significant. Coinsurances up on tier 3 drugs, that's going to be pretty significant. And then the biggest one was, in my opinion, the biggest is going to be they're bringing back referrals on their HMOs. So requiring that's something, again, as we talk about, HMOs were not designed to act like PPOs. They weren't designed, they use these networks, they use these referrals to help with help to estimate and understand the costs that they're susceptible to. Medicare, because of the fundings we saw in the past, these HMO plans, and we saw really rich PPO plans. That's not what Medicare Advantage plans were designed initially to act like. Yeah. So again, they're taking a step back, looking at what these plans looked like, 5-8 years ago.
Okay, so as somebody who's not on a Medicare Advantage plan, and I've always had to get referrals to everything, you say that's a big deal. It seems super easy to me to get a referral.
Well, okay, I'll say it like this.
But as like a young man,
yes,
I'm in my mid-30s.
It slows down your access to care. When you're talking about needing a referral, one, it's more paperwork. You're having to actually go and see your PCP, having to establish that relationship. So one, you have to get into your PCP. Two, you then have to get into the specialist. So it's really slowing down your care and allowing, again, when you have privatized insurance, privatized Medicare, you're also allowing somebody else to say, is that necessary?
Yeah.
And keep in mind, too, I don't have to tell you how it works with a doctor.
Yeah.
When you go to a doctor, they have to run like 50 different things before they allow you to do the thing that they actually need to do. Because they have to check off the cheaper things first because of insurance. So you're basically opening that back up.
Okay.
So it's more of an inconvenience, but it's what Medicare Advantage plans is how they were designed to help with the understanding of those costs.
Kind of like we're saying, reverting back to being a health insurance plan. Because that's what I've always been used to. So it's like, okay, not a big deal. Would it be nice to not have to do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, like the clients are still getting the same coverage. It's just slowing down a little bit.
It is. Well, and I will also tell you they are going to see some increases on specialists and inpatient hospitals. So again, you're going to see increases of cost sharing and then decreases of flexibility.
For sure.
Honestly, with United Healthcare. So that's what's going on with United Healthcare. Something to keep in mind. They're looking past 2026. They're making those adjustments. Again, we're saying all this with United Healthcare. Their worst year is better than most best.
Right.
So just keeping that in mind.
They'll still be up there at the end of AEP.
Let's talk about Humana. What? Wow, I was feeling wacky this morning. What a huge swing as far as attitude in 2026. So we went to the Humana rollout. It was actually the Humana rollout was the day before. So I flew to Boston on Monday, was in Boston from Monday and Tuesday, flew to Minneapolis, went Tuesday night, was in Minneapolis Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So it was a crazy week last week. So some of the information, like, was that Humana, was that UHC, wasn't that hard because the two were so vastly different.
Fair.
Humana's, they asked a really great question on stage and said, what's your biggest fear? What are you losing sleep over? And they had a nice panel of, like, their leadership. Like, anybody with a C title had not that kind of C title.
Fair.
The chief of something was on stage talking about what they can expect. And this answer literally was like, oh, this is going to be big. What keeps you asleep or it keeps you awake at night? What keeps you awake at night? Going into this AEP, and 2 out of the 4 people on there said, we're going to write so much business. Are we going to write too much business?
It's kind of
this
that,
year?
like the giddy, excited.
It's kind of, but that's like kind of scary because like that's what UHC did. They wrote too much business. Like that's what we saw a lot of carriers do. I will tell you, Humana, they might write too much business next year. Humana was a carrier that last year went suppressed in some areas. They've made it, but they never went non-commissionable. They're one of the only plans that did not have a non-commissionable plan. So, or they might have one-off non-commissionable, but they didn't go non-commissionable after October 1st. They're one of the few that didn't have to do that last
Those
year.
mid-year changes that we everyone do.
They're still committed to that.
Good.
So even if they do, because again, I hear like they're going to write too much, and I get scared because we saw that in 2025 AEP.
Yeah. And then what do we do in April to correct this?
Exactly. And so Humana was incredibly excited about what they had going on. Huge investments in the DSNP and SNP. They even talked about coming out with this new plan. Again, I haven't seen the benefits on it yet. The sneak peeks came out yesterday, but there apparently are new plans of the DSNP and SNP combo plan, which is really, really cool. Probably, I mean, it's an extra step. You have to do the chronic verification and the dual verification, but I'm interested to see what those benefits are going to look like. They didn't really talk about their growth areas. They mentioned a couple areas like Texas is like always going to be, North Carolina, some places in the Midwest, but they were very, very optimistic. And when we're comparing the sneak peeks, theirs to others, they do look like they have the right to win in a lot of those regions.
I'm super excited to hear about more or look at the details of that CSNP DSNP plan.
I am curious.
Not only because I'm worried about DSNP plans in general losing some benefits from getting rid of the VBID, going to the SSBCI.
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, I got it right. So looking at how those benefits are changing.
Yeah.
But if you're on a DSNP and a CSNP plan, like they're probably able to load that plan up with some good benefits because of the SSBCI. Like you're gonna qualify for so many things because like some of those qualifications for the SSBCI were like coordinated care, like hospital, anticipated hospital visits, all these different things that lead to like, oh well, that sounds like a CSNP plan.
Yeah.
And then you add in the DSNP factor that also leads to a lot of these other things. Yeah. That plan could have some pretty sick benefits.
Well, I'll tell you this, keeping in mind for all SNP, DSNP, BCDEFGs, SSBCI, it is going to be really important this year. With the removal of VBID and SSBCI cannot help with prescription drugs. They cannot help with the cost of the premiums like VBID could. So this just is an off thing. If you are working with somebody who is LIS qualified or DSNP qualified, make sure you mark that in your Medicare Center because Medicare Center will go ahead and auto-calculate what the premium of that plan will be and the drugs. Because some plans, they're doing this a lot on the chronic plans, especially if somebody's going to qualify for SSBCI or they're qualifying for LIS. They're adding premiums to a lot of these plans. However, the premiums are on the drug side of the plan, not the health side. So if somebody does qualify for LIS, that plan might end up being a zero premium plan, even though it shows a premium. Because it's the premium. When a plan submits their premiums that year, it's actually two premiums. The consumer only sees one. It's the drug side and the health side. So oftentimes those premiums are tied to the drug side. Am I doing the YMCA?
No, I'm just having major deja vu because
we've had this conversation.
When I first moved over to the agent support team, we had this break. I'm like, why are they charging these people money if they're on LIS? They need it. And you're like, calm down, Clayton. It's okay.
Simmer down.
Like, let me explain. So, like, I've literally had this exact conversation.
But it's going to be really important this year because they're not hiding that premium anymore because of this now not on VBID.
Wait, so you say that premium?
That premium. The premium.
Just really quick. Just want to make sure.
Cultural. Nope. Anyways, so just keep that in mind. That is something that you guys are going to keep and just keep in check. Yep. But Humana is making pretty big significant. I will say this. Humana is still crawling into the SNP space. They're not as aggressive in SNP as maybe Aetna or United Healthcare is.
They were screaming about it last year.
Right, exactly. They're still kind of like, we're still kind of getting our sea legs with us. You know, Aetna, I think, yes, we're going to continue to see some more people kind of invest in that. UHC, I think, is going to be much more strongly invested because they've always been in the SNPs, in the special needs plans, always been really invested in those.
And when we're talking about those SSBCI qualifications, I know some about United Healthcare's. I know you gave us some really good numbers about Humana's plan. But it sounds like if they're on a United Healthcare plan or a Humana plan, those carriers are going to do something to help qualify for them.
Yeah, so that was actually United Healthcare stats. And I might have told you wrong because, again, I did both of them back to back. I know. That was my mistake for the year. Okay. I get one. That was it. Okay. It was used on you. Okay. Could you imagine saying that about your kid? Anyways.
Things I won't be saying to baby brother.
Right.
He was very planned,
You're
and
my-
this is
yes.
a blessing. It's
Yes,
like,
for
you're
sure.
my one
For
mistake
sure,
this
for
year.
sure. I'm
Cold,
in therapy. It's fine.
cold.
So it's so just considering again, that's all a joke. Please, no one. I'm actually very okay. UHC did talk about how individuals, 90% of their individuals who will be losing their benefits because of the loss of the VBID movement into the SSBCI, 90% of those individuals will be auto-enrolled in SSBCI.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
90% of those will be auto-enrolled. Of the remaining 10%, 90% of those individuals will qualify for it, but just not automatically. United Healthcare is going to be hand-holding and actually incorporating this new VBID tracker or SSBCI tracker so that you can track the progress
That's
of their
good.
SSBCI. And then the remaining 10% of the 10% will lose those benefits. So it's a small subset.
10% of 10%.
so
Then
1%.
we got to 1%.
We got to
Yeah,
1%.
okay, yeah.
Quick math.
I'm smart.
So
I'm super smart.
with Humana, they seem like they're going to be the carrier to be. If you don't have a Humana contract or haven't written your Humana in quite some time, get familiar, get comfortable, understand their processes. They are bringing back, Humana is bringing back HRA payments. They did not talk about what it's likely going to be on chronic and dual plans only. However, because of the ABC winning that lawsuit, that might change. We may be less worried about those dollars. Carriers might be less worried about those dollars and marketing dollars because of that recent update. But they did say they are going to be.
Just keep plugging that for the end of the show.
plugging
You
it.
got to stick around.
Let's jump in really quick with Aetna.
Wait, we have some questions.
Okay.
I saw.
Yeah.
Humana has a C-SNP, D-SNP combo currently in Kansas. Doesn't make sense. They have SMOB for cost share protection. Then they belong. Okay. So we'll see how that works with like the MCOs and stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Is really how it's going to play out.
Yeah, we'll end up seeing how that works. But keep in mind, Slim B isn't a level of Medicaid. Slim B is a Medicare savings program that helps pay for some or all of the premium of a Medicare Part B premium. So there are individuals that qualify for Slim B but do not qualify for QMB or dual status. So just keeping that in mind that is a different program, different funding for that. So keep that in mind. Oh, great question, Michelle. Partial D-SNPs for next year. Great segue to Aetna. Aetna, during their rollout, had a ton of conversations about bringing back those partial plans, Slim B style of plans. If you qualify for a partial level or a spin down with Medicaid, then you have to just have some sort of level of that. So they are rolling those out. There is some legislation right now that makes it a little difficult because they're saying partial plans cannot be identical to Medicaid plans.
Yeah.
To the full D-SNP plan. So you're going to see some changes. You're going to see some variation. Also, again, knowing that the SSBCI, they probably won't qualify in some cases for SSBCI where a lot of those benefits were coming from. So they will look different, but Aetna talked a lot about launching more D-SNP plans. Now, Aetna in a lot of these states that have integrated plans, they did talk about, what is it called? What's it called? It's basically the integrated plans, but it was a silly word. I'll come back with it. It was a silly it was an F1 and an H1. Heidi Fighty. Thank you. Aetna does have a lot of the Heidi and the Fighty contracts in those integrated states. Gosh, great job.
I'm back, baby.
I said silly and you were back on board.
Yeah.
And so they do hold a lot of those Heidi and a lot of those Fighty contracts. So if you are in a state that has those integrated plans, WellCare, Aetna. That's who you need to be contracted with. They're going to right to win. Aetna said their biggest opportunity is Florida.
I'm going to shout out to my Illinois homies and say Molina is another one of those that's going to be super huge. So just watch that as well. Just wanted to throw that one out there because that's not a name that we're super familiar with, but getting familiar with out of necessity because they're going to be amazing.
Going to be pretty good. So just keeping that in mind. We'll talk about regionals here in a second. So.
I don't want to.
Well, I guess it'll be the time for Mr. Biz to shine.
I'll leave.
So just keeping that in mind, Aetna is expecting a really, really strong year as well. They are one that's kind of creeping back. They didn't take a huge step. I think last year in 2025, which is weird because we're currently in 25, but last AEP, they thought that they were taking they were prepped. and taking for big step backs, and they really didn't take us
And-
back
yeah.
a bad a step as they thought. So they're holding stable, and we're not seeing a ton of SARs. They did announce that they were going non-commissionable on some plans, 9-1, and we're very transparent that those plans were likely going to be not likely would be SAR.
They were much more transparent,
Very
saying
transparent.
that of like these plans are going away.
Well, they're like, and I understand it.
Like,
We
why?
don't want members on this plan to be on this plan for 4 months and then turn around. Like, that's not
It's
the
a
member
bad,
experience.
yeah, I was saying it's a bad
member
experience, and they do want membership, so they don't want to just like get on our plan, get off our plan. Will you join us our plan again?
Yes.
Like that's not a great
Yes.
strategy.
They are looking for, again, growth in very particular areas. They were at their rollout very transparent about their benefits, which we've not seen at a rollout in years.
Yeah.
So if you missed our Aetna rollout webinar, it is on our website. It is behind a password because, again, we're talking 2026 benefits. We have to ensure that you are, in fact, an insurance agent and not just a beneficiary. But please, like, Aetna is excited. They're being a little bit more cautious than Humana. So they will win market share this year, but I think Humana is still going to be the front runner for a lot of different
For sure.
reasons.
Yeah, Aetna did their you said creep, and it reminded us of a pre-chat talk of like they creep.
They creep. They TLC.
Yeah. Turn up.
Guess we're done. Devoted. Devoted. Devoted is a carrier, and I'll tell you, Devoted is a carrier that has just been building and building and building and building over the last 4 years. There was a carrier that started off as regional, Ed Park, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name, brilliant people that were in healthcare first and said, this is ridiculous. If we want to fix healthcare, we have to fix the financing.
Didn't they like wanted to fix it because their mom was
their
getting
mom,
yeah.
she couldn't was trying to find like a women's health situation, and like couldn't get it financed, was having terrible. They're actually trying to build a women's health facility, and whenever they got into the back end of how this is financed via insurance, they're like, this is a mess. We can fix it, and God bless them.
I love good rich people.
When
They're
you
like,
use
you
your
know
powers
what?
for good.
We're gonna fix this.
Yes. So Devoted is one that has been picking up steam. I no longer consider them a regional carrier. That's why I pulled them out separately.
Yeah.
They're not a regional carrier. They're huge. They're incredible. They are going to be more of, they still kind of have a regional mindset when it comes to networks.
That regional
They
vibe.
are the regional vibe. They are going to still be what I call more of a boutique network, which back whenever Devoted first became popular, they were competing against carriers like, again, UHC, Aetna, Humana, that were doing these passport growth programs or these nationwide networks. Can't really afford to do those anymore, right?
Right.
So now that we're seeing carrier networks narrow in a lot of different ways, Devoted's going to continue to be kind of it's going to continue to look really good.
For sure.
If not in benefits, because in benefits, I think they didn't make a ton of changes. They stayed fast. They expanded in some markets. They're looking good there, but they're not the plan that's going to stand out because of their benefits. It's the plan that's going to stay out. Devoted actually had some really cool statistics that they did lose quite a bit of business in 2025 and won almost all of it back in OEP.
Oh, that's right. I was like,
They
okay.
call
Like,
it
I don't remember
boomerangs.
that
They call it
because
boomerangs
it came back.
because they came back. So they're people who got attracted by these other benefits and things like that. So we're going to leave them. The minute they try to use those other carriers, they said, never mind, we missed Devoted. We missed that
Basically,
customer
they had to
service.
call other member services and realized how good they had it when they were with Devoted.
Sure. So
Like,
I think
that's the huge selling. Like, if you have a client who like is super picky about their client, like their customer service aspects, Devoted's the carrier that's gonna wow them.
yes, but they really lean on agents to talk about them, because if a
Yes.
person just goes and starts shopping for benefits, they're not going to stick out. But it's truly how they care for them, and it's that boutique style of care. And it's because Devoted, they only work with providers who will utilize their systems and processes. So when you're talking about some of those pre-authorizations, when you're talking about those if they need a referral to see a specialist, when you're talking about that kind of stuff, it's all in-house in Devoted's technology, which is home-built, home-developed, rivals anything that like Microsoft or Apple puts out there.
Yeah.
It's incredible what they do. And they keep it all in-house. They have their own like telephonic healthcare system as well. So it's just true holistic care of the consumer. And their team is incredible to work with. So again, when it comes to Devoted, if they've expanded into your area and you've not worked with them in the past, or if they were in your area in the past, you just like, well, they just don't come up on Medicare Center. I just don't see them at the top. this is the year. Networks are narrowing. Boutique style of cares. All of the carriers, Aetna and Humana especially, talked about value-based providers, which is boutique style of care. And they're really leaning into their value-based providers for those enrollments. So if you haven't looked at Devoted in the past, they have expanded. They're in growth mode, but strategic growth mode. So they're not going to be the hottest hottie on the block. Just understand, if you haven't sold them, you really need to get trained about what their value add is.
And correct me if I'm wrong.
I always do.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to be wrong then on purpose.
Okay.
So the customer service team that they have, they get like a person that's like kind of dedicated to them for that phone call. And they're like, no, we're going to solve this issue with them.
Yes.
That is something that I loved about Devoted from the get-go, is you're not going to be passed around to like 5-6 different departments. You get like ownership when you call in and get a person.
Yeah.
I love that because it's similar to like what I do with my job of like, look, I might not know the answer, but I'm going to go hunt it down for you. Like, that's the kind of support you're getting over at Devoted.
Both on the agent side and the consumer side.
For sure.
Like, they are just a one-stop shop. We'll take care of you. Good, nothing but good vibes from Devoted.
For sure. And like, you were kind of talking about the benefits not being the greatest. They're not bad either.
They're not bad. No, they're not bad.
Like, that's what I wanted to walk away from before we go to the next slide. It was like,
a very great
there
point.
are solid benefits. You might see these bigger carriers have a little bit extra or a little bit lower MOOP, something like that. But, like, also think about how often a client's actually hitting that max out of pocket.
That's a good point.
Devoted's putting that max out of pocket maybe a little bit higher because they're protecting themselves from having to take a huge step back.
We are almost 45 minutes into this. We're going to wrap it up with...
we talk a lot.
We do. Well, it's because I miss you.
Well,
And you miss me too. Okay.
we can talk about it later.
That's fine. My ego's fine. We're going to get into, let's get into the regionals. And the regionals, something I found really interesting in 2026 was, man, did some of these big carriers really misjudge regionals in 2025. It was a lot of things with, like, as margins continue to squeeze, as the CMS and the government and this administration continues to look at cost spending, these little guys, aka the regionals will not be able to continue to exist. They can't survive in it. And boy, were we wrong.
Yeah, they thrived.
They thrived. And so what's interesting is that what Integrity looked at is, if you can took all the regionals across the United States, because there's hundreds of them.
Right.
If you took all the regionals across the United States, if you look at what Integrity agents wrote in 2025 AEP, regional carriers were the number 2 carrier behind UHC.
Dang.
Literally would have been number 2.
That's crazy.
So it is to say that, again, when you're looking at these regional carriers, that we're looking at carriers, Molina being an example of that, carriers that we've known have been there for a long time, but man, they have the flexibility. They don't have as many of like the stock owners that they have to report to and talk about how they're going to justify their plans or their existence in 2026. So we're able to see some a little bit more flexibility. For example, Essence is one that I would put in that category regional. Our team's there right now, and we're literally getting sirens going off that Essence, if you're in St. Louis, Essence is going to be a right to win.
A wee woo.
A wee woo, if you
Wee
will.
woo.
It is a right to win. So looking at these regionals, and that's really difficult for somebody like us who is in all 50 states to be like, we can't get contracted with hundreds of people, with hundreds of organizations. Our contracting team would look at us and like plot our murders, and I would help them. That'd be awful. Yeah. But we do have to make sure we have to have solutions for all of those. Yeah. So if you are in an area you want us to look at a regional, let us know, because we don't know until you tell us. Your feet on the street. These regionals aren't used to working with the bigs like senior marketing specialists. We have partners either within Integrity or sometimes outside of Integrity that we really trust, that we would say, we can't help you, but these are the guys that can help you with that contract. So make sure that you talk to us, even if it's a regional that we're not going to help with. Regionals are going to continue to be not a winner across the board, but relevant in 2026.
I definitely want to reiterate that, because I've connected a lot of my agents that I work with closely to other Integrity partners.
Yes.
Purely because I'm like, I want you to have this, and I don't have access to it.
Yeah.
Like, please call this person.
Yes.
So, like, let me know. Ask whoever you're talking to, me, Ben, anybody here at Senior Marketing Specialist, and say, I need this carrier. Do you guys have it?
Yes.
And if the answer is no, say, where can I pick it up?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll get a no, but we also want to make sure, okay, where can I get this? Because you need it this year.
We're like, ooh, I had a thought and she just went. It is going to be, again, share a shelf. Share or shelf is
Sure,
going to
sure.
be incredibly important this year. Some plans are talking. United Healthcare talked about simplifying, only offering a few plan types.
Yeah.
Carriers like Humana said we're going to offer tons of different plan types depending on the county that you're in. So share or shelf is going to be really important. Different types of plans for different priorities of your consumers. Regionals might be somebody, especially with this boutique style of care, that regional carriers will do better than most. Yes, but just keep in mind that it can be a dangerous game, because if a provider leaves, they have the ability to leave in the middle of the year, and that's not an SEP in most cases. So keep that in mind. I did get a text question. It says, where is Devoted and what states? They're constantly expanding. So call us. We will give you exactly where they are if they are in your state. But they're no longer regional. We're talking Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, a lot in the Northeast region, a lot of the Southeast region, making their way over to the Western side. Walking fast faces. I don't think I know the words to that song.
We'll try.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
ABC.
That's the end of the carrier vibes. That's all you wanted.
Yeah, run away. But we've kept you
Get
so
outta here.
long. You guys are wonderful. But Olivia kept saying, at the end of this, I'll talk about this.
I kind of talked about it. The
Talk
ABC,
about it more.
the Americans for Beneficiaries Choice. That was, if you guys remember, when the final rule came out in 2024, going in like December of 2024, talking about where us as FMOs, and they look at FMOs because that's like where people can demonize their FMO if you're not with senior marketing specialist and you don't get that support. I can understand that.
That would be terrible. You should move. Just come call me.
So, but understanding that what that final ruling was talking about anything over an agent level commission.
Yeah.
So basically saying that if you are an agency and you had downline agents, you would no longer be able to make money off of what your downline agents did. You could not receive income for that. It also meant that you wouldn't be able to get marketing dollars, co-op help, anything. It was basically saying agents, here's an extra $100 a year. That's all you get. Build your own enrollment, handle your own support, do your own marketing, and help your own downlines.
Yep.
Period. Like, that's it.
They said bye.
They were basically saying that that uplines don't support enough to give that assistance. The Americans for Beneficiaries Choice, which of course is a coalition that was built by Integrity, AmeriLife, Senior Market Sales. Basically, all the big dogs got together and said, "Yo, this ain't right."
Yeah.
And created the Americans for Beneficiaries Choice. In fact, our good friend Chaylin Jackson here does a lot of work with them and has worked very closely with that crew for a long time now. So we kind of get some insights every now and then. But Michelle actually texted this to me last night, and she said, "What does this mean?" And I read it, and I was like, I know what this means, but I need to talk to Chaylin first.
But I need a Chaylin
I need a Chaylin to break it down. I even put it into ChatGPT. Long story short, then I want to read you my ChatGPT. Long story short, that rule got thrown out. It was put in a stay in early in 2025, and due to the ABC suit, it took a Texas judge to say, you guys don't have the rights, the rules, this is silly. No. So it was in a stay going into 2025's AEP. They just announced, they said, the judge in Texas came back and said, I was correct. You have nothing to stand on. Let me tell you my 5-year-old language. I literally told ChatGPT, tell this to me like I'm 5. And boy, did it.
That's how I explain.
I have Alex rolling right now.
I have everyone explain everything to me like I'm 5.
I said, so it read this thing off to me, and I said, tell me like I'm 5. It says, got it. Here's the I'm 5 version. The government made a new rule about how people help seniors pick Medicare plans, agents, brokers, and how they get paid. The judge in Texas says, this rule don't make sense. The government didn't explain it well, so now you can't use that rule. Thank you, ChatGPT. So just keeping that in mind, it didn't affect the one-to-one consent rule. So I know we are looking at like how the FDA, or not the FDA, that's the food people, the FCC is looking at, won't be me, on MTV. They're basically saying they're at that level saying we can't change, or they're changing the one-to-one consent rule. CMS is basically saying, nah, the one-to-one consent rule still applies. So
those seem like two separate things.
They're incredibly separate, but so that's really exciting.
Cool.
So agents, continue to get your downline, continue to ask your upline for dollars, continue to get your AHIP paid for, continue to get those HRAs and VBEs, y'all. Cool stuff. Cool stuff going on. Big win for the industry. Big win for insurance agents.
Whoa.
Whoop, whoop. Now you've been with me for 50 minutes, and only one person's asked about the cat. So, and thank you, Mary. So, in closing, Clayton, glad to have you back.
Yes, I'm so happy to be back, y'all.
Thanks. Very, very excited to have you here. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, reach out to Senior Marketing Specialist. Shoot me a text. Anything but a carrier pigeon. And we'll talk to you next time. So until then, have fun.
Make money.
And give impeccable service. Oh, missed you.